Hello guys, this is nothing else on another Cargouide Pens video. I hope everyone is hearing me correctly, because lately I have been having some audio problems and I need to remake it. And well, yeah, now I actually get the whole video, so okay, the rules are clear. The rules are clear. Um, I basically talk about all of the normal details of the class, then I go to subclasses, then go to feats and spells and equipment at last. But over here it's a martial, so of course no equipment. And of course gets a bonus feat at level 1. So now, dexterity will be your main score because you use guns, Gunslinger, and you have average HP. And I promise this is not just a worse fighter, okay? Well, you start expert with perception, fortitude, and reflex, and just trained in will. So just like fighter, but with expert in perception. Very good. And also one or more skills determined by your gunslinger's way, and you're trained in number of skills equal to 3 plus your intelligence modifier. And remember, since you're a gunslinger, you use guns which don't have, are ranged weapons, so you don't add, and I don't think that guns have propulsive trait, so none of them add your strength modifier or anything like this. So you will just probably focus on putting an 18 in your dexterity modifier, then 14 probably in your constitution and wisdom, because initiative is very good, and initiative is like a very important thing, especially for ranged combatants. Initiative is very important. For ranged DPSs. So now, you have additional points, essentially just left to distribute into either strength, intelligence, or charisma, which are all actually valid in this build, depending on your subclass. But going back to it, you have essentially just all firearms and crossbows. You have expert in firearms and crossbows up to marshals, because you can be a crossbow slinger, and trained in advanced firearms and crossbows, which is pretty good. And you're trained in simple weapons and martial weapons. Also, you have armor up to medium. So yeah, right now, just except for perception, and yeah, excuse me, I'm kind of sick right now, so that's why I cough. Yeah, and of course Gunslinger class DC, that's pretty obvious. Now you have of course skill feats and all of the normal stuff, but we will go to level 3 to skip essentially just the things that everyone gets. Now, Stubborn, you get expert in will saves, and when you fail, but not critically, against will save that would give you a control condition, you can attempt a second save on the start on your next turn. And on a successful save, the condition ends, which will be very good, because you are kind of a ranged glass cannon type of character. Less so than wizard, stuff like this, but it will be still really good. And of course, Gunslinger Weapon Mastery, which gives you just master at weapons at level 5. In your firearms and crossbows, and expert at other stuff that you get, and also critical specialization effect of firearms and crossbows, which is pretty good. Now, vigilant senses, of course, at level 7 you get master perception, and you deal extra damage from weapons because weapon specialization, advanced deed, which is again a subclass thing, we will get to that later, and Gunslinger expertise, which Gunslinger DC to expert. then evasion at level 11, which massage reflex saves a success, and on a success you get a critical success instead. And Gunslinger Legend, yeah, you get your proficiencies up to legendary, still just like a fighter. And medium armor expertise, so expert at medium armor at level 13. Kind of late, but you're a ranged fighter. Then Greater Deed at level 15, another subclass thing. Greater weapon specialization, aka even more damage. Then Juggernaut at level 17, which, the same as every master, but just fortitude. Shoot is edge, so you ignore penalty for using your weapons second and third range increments, which is like really really good if you're fighting on a siege battle. If that's not the case, then most likely you don't need to do this if you're using a long range weapon. So unless you're using some sort of like sight pistol, which yeah, because sight pistol is one of the best guns in the game, and it's just martial. Unless that, then that won't probably matter all that much. Incredible senses, so legendary at perception and master, and also when you get that, also master medium armor and armor defense. Yeah, this time we got over it in like 7 minutes or so, and normally, like because I was sick. I mean I still am sick, but now I got some medicine and my mind thinks straight. I mean, like, not 100% straight, not like straight in every possible way, but just. But by that I mean that I'm more focused on the thing. My brain just doesn't close itself and just trying to battle the disease. Okay. Now, Way of the Drifter is pretty simple. It's essentially one of the weapons that are one of the things that are good with strength. So essentially, just you can just a gun and a blade, which with Drifter I recommend that you pick a slide pistol, and probably you pick some sort of kukri or rapier. However, I think that actually you should take like early a feat that is called advanced weapon, which is like called weapon proficiency, a general feat, which essentially gives you proficiency. In this case, it will give you trained proficiency in like advanced weapons, and then you can pick up a dueling sword. And I know that it doesn't stack, but you can take a deal. But then when you do that, you can take a duelist dedication. So yeah, if you can take a duelist dedication, then it will be really really good. Now, why is it like really melee? Because you have reloading strike. Yes, the ways of the Gunslinger give you things that are called deeds, give you a skill, and a specific reload. This one gives you acrobatics. Yes, pretty self-explanatory, but gives you reloading strike. So while you reload, you can strike with your melee weapon, and that's why it is. And also deeds, aka things that pretty much, I think that in every single Gunslinger, the first deed is when you roll initiative. And over here, you can draw. As you can see, you can just interact to draw a single one-handed ranged weapon and then interact and draw 100 melee weapon as your first action. And strike to the enemy, which is like pretty good. But remember, you are a Gunslinger. You will be a bit fragile. So just keep that in mind. You may want to like, since you're fragile, if you play a drifter, then you may want to just invest in a sentinel dedication, I think, on like later levels. At around like level 10, you may want to get a sentinel dedication. And now, of course, reloading strike, we all know what it does. I already told you. And finish the job is another deed. So, if you fail a strike with firearm crossbow in hand, and you have a melee weapon in the other hand, then you just can make an attack with that other weapon. And it is actually with the same multiple penalty as the strike that failed, which is really good. It is really good, actually. Drifter's Wake. Which, yeah, you can strike up to 3 times at any point during your movement. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You strike. Okay. So you strike. Okay, you make a stride. Okay, so you essentially make a strike and hit with your guns and swords and stuff like this. Just normally. I mean normally. Oh, okay. My brain is stopping to work again. So okay, you stride, and during that stride, you can attack. You can attack like 3 different enemies that were in your range during that stride. And this must be different enemies. And this movement doesn't trigger reactions, and also, why it is actually good, it is because, just like Whirlwind Strike, you don't count the multiple attack penalty until you finish all strikes, which will be probably just like end of your whole turn, Unless you have some sort of like specific level 20 feat or something. No, Pistolero is the charisma based guy, and probably I would recommend you take like 2 slide pistols or something like this first. Pistolero, because slide pistols are amazing. And over here, with either deception or intimidation, yeah, when you pick that, you can either create a diversion or demoralize an enemy during reloading. Then, which is your reload, and of course, first deed, of course, is when you roll initiative, and yeah, you get plus 2 to the initiative roll, which is a circumstance bonus, which I don't know if it stacks with incredible initiative. Oh no, it does not stack with incredible initiative. Because they're both circumstance bonuses. So yeah, no Pistoler's retort, so Yeah, of course. It's about a 100 firearm or crossbow, so that's why slide pistol is very good for this. So when the enemy fails critically an attack roll, aka fumbles, you can just shoot the enemy with the firearm or crossbow that you have, which will most likely be either a slide pistol or like a repeating hand crossbow. Now, Grim Swagger, which seems like really weird. It literally sounds, swagger is like a really weird word. Like when I hear the word swagger, I like think like this sound like I don't know why. Of course, and one-handed firearm crossbow. And so that's why it's great to have two at once. And yeah, you attempt to clear the room by promising a green fate to anyone. And attempt a deception or intimidation check. And I love if you attempt a deception check to lie and boast about your powers to a large group of friends. Or the large group of friends on their way back to back you up if you intimidation check. And intimidation, yeah, is intimidation. And on critical success, the target becomes frightened and fleeing, and creature becomes frightened too. So, yeah, it's essentially like what I would expect Scared to Death to do on enemies that that are immune to death to like death effects. They would probably be just frightened, free, and fleeing. That's at least my homebrew because right now, like a success is better than a critical success if you use Scared to Death on an enemy that is immune to death. And yeah, way of the pistol arrow. I mean, it was this. And now, way of the sniper. Once again, cover 3 load, you take cover during a reload, one shot, one kill. So when you roll an initiative, you deal like 1d6 precision damage, which will be at 9th level, 2d6, and 3d6 at level 15. And yeah, that another initiative, but this time it requires stealth and vital shot. So essentially, for 2 actions, you make a ranged strike. If the target is flat-footed, this strike deals an extra die of weapon damage, and the foe takes persistent bleed damage equal to the amount of precision damage from your one shot, one kill. It is pretty good. And ghost shot. Oh yeah, also over here with sniper, I recommend you take a double barrel musket. Because it has great range and it allows you to just essentially shoot twice during your turn and then take cover while reloading, which is once again very great for sieges. You know, if you have like a siege battle, then Gunslinger and also like then Gunslinger with like a siege weapon dedication would be really great. And Ghost Shot, which sounds like really great. So if you're hidden and undetected, hidden from or undetected by a target, once again your reload helps with this. The strike deals additional precision damage from one shot, one kill. If it would already receive that damage on a strike, the effects aren't cumulative. If you were undetected or unnoticed by any creatures you're now hidden from them instead, as the origin of the attack is clear. Oh, unnoticed, not undetected. Oh yeah, undetected or unnoticed. Yeah, sorry again. And way of the spell shot, which is the intelligence based one. Which, yeah, this time it's a class archetype rather than this. That's why it says that you need to be a gunslinger. Which, as class archetypes work, you need to take a spell shot dedication from the spell shot archetype as your second level class feat, specifically class feat. And yeah, you get like a conjure bullet thing, which um, yeah, it just gives you a bullet. But later, Phosphor Reload, you recall knowledge during that, so yeah, having a great intelligence stat will be really great because you probably will already have a decent wisdom stat because you want that high initiative as a ranged fighter. I meant ranged combatant. Then yeah, intelligence would be pretty good, and recalling knowledge, yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess. And over here, I recommend that you probably either take two slide pistols, um, or take the double barrel musket. You can choose between the two. And you get energy shot as your first deed. So yeah, you deal addition. Um, so yeah, you can draw a ranged weapon, and on your first three strikes of this encounter, with the firearm crossbow, you deal additional one acid, cold, fire, or electricity damage. And you choose which damage you deal as a part of making each strike. So you can just trigger like 3 weaknesses on 3 different enemies separately. It's just like really good. But I'm kind of disappointed because it just deals like acid, cold, fire, or electricity damage. And I personally would also allow it to deal sonic damage, so you know. So we round up the energy damage types. Now, advanced deed is recall ammunition, so when you miss like an ordinary level 2 bullet, you just take the missed shot back into your gun. Which is immediately ready to fire, which, I mean, okay. Like, I don't see too much of a purpose in this, because if you take two slide pistols, you will have a lot. You will probably already have like 10, you will have 10 ammunition at once. You know? And if you take the other pistol, and if you take like the double barrel musket, then yeah, I mean it still loads 2 times, so really nothing changes about your action economy. So unless you take some sort of like flintlock that has one bullet in it, then it's not that good. Then dispelling bullet, so yeah, if you hit, you interrupt to can you if you hit with that 2 action thing called dispelling bullet, which as far as I can see, you can spam it. If you hit, you attempt to counteract a spell effect active on a target. Your choice of the highest level effect if you don't choose. Your counteract level is equal to half your level rounded up, and your counteract check modifier is equal to your class DC minus 10. Yeah, it's pretty good, I guess. It's pretty good, but it needs to be an active spell, and I personally would think that it would be way better if you just were able to shoot the enemy and then you automatically counteract the next spell that the enemy casts. Or if the enemy already has a spell on themselves, then you counteract it. So yeah, and also important thing about this, spell shot just begs to be part with Beast Gunner, you know. Beast Gunner uses intelligence for that, and you already get Arcana as your skill. Oh yeah, forgot. Oh yeah, no, I didn't forget. Oh, over here I just forgot. Yeah, and Beast Gunner, essentially, you can take Beast Gunner pretty early if you have the spell shot dedication, so it essentially just begs you to choose Beast Gunner also. And the Growth Pistol will be pretty good with that. Then, Way of the Trigger Brand. And what is Trigger Brand? Well, Trigger Brand is a little thing that it's essentially just like a combined weapon, you know? Combination weapons, so yeah, touch to go. Your body's shadows mark your hands with steel. You step towards the enemy as you reload. And you can interact to change your weapon between melee and ranged modes. And you can then interact to reload. Great reload and sprint retrap. When you roll initiative, you can interact to draw a combination weapon and set it to melee on range mode. On your first turn, your movement and ranged attacks don't trigger reactions that normally triggered by movement or a ranged attack, aka such as attack of opportunity, which is mostly just attack of opportunity. Then wind them up. Wind them up. So that's another pretty good thing, which make a melee strike with your combination weapon and then attempt a thievery check with -5 penalty to steal from your target. You can steal closely guarded objects or objects that would take a long time to pilfer. You don't need a free hand to attempt to steal something in such a manner. If your thievery check succeeds, the target is flat-footed and your ranged attacks until the start of your next turn don't trigger reactions and are normally triggered. That are normally triggered by movement or a ranged attack. This effect occurs even if your target has no objects to steal. Like, it's very funny, you know? It's very funny. So yeah, just remember, thievery, tampering will be pretty important. Yeah, that's just kind of funny. Break them down. Make a melee strike with a combination weapon both against the same enemy. Yeah, make a melee and then ranged strike with your combination weapon both against the same enemy. You don't need to change modes to do so. If the melee strike hits, you gain a +1 circumstance bonus to the attack roll with the ranged strike. Each attack counts toward your multiple attack penalty. But your multiple attack penalty doesn't increase until you've made both attacks. So yeah, the very thing that we like very much. If both strikes hit, you deal additional 2d6 persistent bleed damage to the enemy if they're dazzled until the persistent bleed damage ends. The Way of the Vanguard. Which Vanguard will be most of at least as far as I have seen, it will be probably like a shotgun guy, you know? But still, since it's a two-handed weapon, then probably double barrel musket will be pretty good also. But just keep in mind that scatter guns and shotguns will be probably very good for that. So yeah, one is your slingers reload, so you shove the enemy and then reload. And you don't need a free hand for this shove. You add the weapons item bonus on attack rolls to the athletics check. Like, okay, pretty good. But it still counts towards your multiple attack penalty. So that kind of sucks, but you know, you still get your +2 to hit. And leaving fortification, so when you roll initiative, you can posture defensively with your firearms or crossbows acting like a walking tower. So you can interact to draw a firearm or crossbow, position that weapon defensively to give yourself +1 to AC until the start of your first turn, or a +2 circumstance bonus if the chosen weapon has the parry trait. Which will be pretty good. Also, sorry for the sounds, but my brother decided that it will be really great to start hitting random doors with balls. And I don't mean like the physical flesh-made balls. I mean like a plastic one. Like a plastic one that you use to play soccer. And then advanced deed is spinning crush. So when you're wielding a loaded firearm or crossbow, you make a vicious spin. So all creatures adjacent to you take 1d6 dodging damage plus your strength modifier. And it also stacks with striking rules. The ability does not increase damage from your firearms, such does not apply other effects like weapon specialization. Creatures affected by this attack must attempt a basic reflex save, so we know it reduces the damage essentially. A creature that fails the reflex also is pushed 5 feet out directly away from you. And greater deed is Siege Breaker. So once again, yeah, scatter guns, because scatter traits. So once again, it's probably the best that you use like a scatter gun or something. So yeah, leap or stride, then make a strike with the required firearm or crossbow against the adjacent target. This strike deals additional 3d8 bludgeoning damage and ignores 10 points of target's hardness, if there are any, or the shield's hardness if the target is using shield block. After the strike, you become immobilized and position required weapon defensively, gaining a +1 circumstance bonus to AC. Or a +2 if the weapon has a parry trait. Both effects last until the end of your next turn. If force would normally move you while you're immobilized in this way, then appropriate check, of course. And yeah, again, a video is a bit too long, but yeah, I already explained weapons to you, and I'm going to tell you, yeah, you probably start with +4 to your dexterity, so leather armor will be the best. But probably, but not really, because I have noticed that in Treasure Vault, you have a thing like leather laminar. So yeah, this is essentially just a better leather armor. It's just a leather armor but better, but has like a lower armor class penalty by 1, because normally if your thing breaks, then it takes a -1 penalty if it's light, -2 if it's medium, and -3 if it's heavy. But Liminar reduces the penalty by 1. So that's why I think it's way better. Because right now, even if your light armor is broken, then it doesn't make a difference at all. In terms of defenses, of course. The Gunslinger fits not like really not too much. Like hit the dirt, I think that hit the dirt is really good. And if you're taking a drifter, sword and pistol, of course, is like your choice, your best choice probably. And dual weapon reload is also a pretty great thing. And if you're taking, the Vanguard, then defensive armaments will be the thing that you want. So yeah, dual weapon reload is of course great for slide pistols. And you also have paired shots, paired shots. It's called paired shots, I think. Yes. Paired shots that essentially just makes you hit with the same multiple attack penalty on both shots, which is really really good if you know me. If you have two weapons, so that's why two slide pistols is like my go-to unless I'm going for a double barrel musket. Of course, flesh wound is also a great thing if you try to go for that like musket. If you try to go for like the musket, the flesh wound is a really great thing, If you because if you go for a I mean, it still deals so damage even if you miss, which is really good. Sorry, I'm trying not to cough too much, that's why I kind of stop once in a while. And now, Fatal Bullet is also pretty great, especially with slide pistols, once again, and I think that double barrel musket also works like this. And yeah, over here, I actually have straight up like my favorite one is perfect readiness. It's like my preferable one, straight up. I'm not even gonna say that I'm unbiased. I'm biased towards it. So yeah, also though. Yeah, over here you still have Fatal, which is probably Fatal D12, I think. Oh no, it's Fatal D10, just like slide pistols. So yeah, double barrel musket is also pretty good. So yeah, just remember. So yeah, just remember, it's very important. It's very you can pick any weapon, okay? You can pick any weapon to be effective with a gunslinger as long as it's a gun or a crossbow. But double barrel musket and also slide pistols are martial weapons, so you don't even need to take that feat or wait until level 6 to use them at their full efficiency. They already have a deadly trait, fatal trait, which is like really, really great. Oh, I actually got this one. And yeah, both of them. Uh, uh, um, Sorry. So yeah, double barrel is a really great trait, along with like capacity being another great trait. And they both just have reload 1, so you don't need to wait anytime, and both have concussive trait, which is great for bypassing resistances, and also a fatal D10. This is also very great. So yeah, remember, all of what I said is just my personal guide that I think that will make the game easier for you. But I may be wrong. Everyone may be wrong sometimes, so and you should not stop yourself from making your character concept just because just because you should not limit yourself just because some guy on the internet told you, okay? I'm sick right now. I'm sick right now. I'm tired, and I I'm just trying to give you my best advice. But this is not like objective truth that you should like um, spread across everything. Like the only objective truth is um, that we have like Pathfinder, we have like Fate Core system, we have like Cogent RPG, we have like Warhammer 40k, we have like no, actually Warhammer 40k won't be fitting over here. We have Sci-Fi RPG, and all of them are pretty great systems for making fantasy games. All of them are pretty great. And this one is kind of crunchy, so that's why I'm explaining it. You remember, just everything is great, unless it's owned by Hasbro. Yeah. Yeah, I know that Warhammer 40k is also owned by Hasbro, but you know that's why I didn't put it in the list. That's why I hesitated. Even though like the Warhammer 40k lore is like really great, and yeah, it's a strategy game which is pretty good, but like holy crap, everything is overpriced. Everything is overpriced really really much. But you know, like 40k lore is pretty good. Oh yeah, almost forgot to tell you. And the usual goodbyes. So just remember, guys, try to find your own path, you freaks of nature.